Point of view, POV. It's a great way for you to be able to tell stories of your day-to-day life, go out and do some street photography, or just grab some amazing content just in general. At the moment, there is a plethora of different cameras you can use for POV, including 360 cameras to action cameras to some more pocketable kind of content cameras. Depending on what you want to do with it, there is a whole landmine, whole field of different things you can actually do. In this video, what we're going to be showing you is a bunch of different ways of doing POV. We're also going to show you some cameras and talk about them. We've reviewed quite a lot of them, so make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and check them out down below. And, you know, let's get into it. Let's check out some awesome POV. POV, of course, stands for point of view. This is what you would see in like a first-person shooter game or a lot of computer games in this day and age. It's the view from what you actually see. That's super important. Somebody that I often have on the channel named Tom Wilkins in particular. So this is what we're going to be talking about today.
Would it be really bad for me to run off and do a stranger portrait in the middle of a podcast?
Every time, go on.
Be back in a minute. My name's Tom, I'm a photographer. I walk around and look for cool. I am Tom Wilkins. Can I take your pictures? Because you look cool. Awesome. What's your names?
Mace and Beck.
Nice to meet you.
He does actually do POV stranger photography. That's where he introduces himself, get people nice and relaxed, and take photos with their permission. These are really great things to be able to do, to be able to build up a portfolio, but also if you run a business, say a restaurant, having POV style content of you making the food is actually content that performs really well again and again. Now, why do POV? It's the point on you telling your story, having your identity on the content that you create, be it more professional cinematography, photography, or just whatever your passion is. POV is so important for your content creation and a way for you to be able to get customers in this day and age. So far, going pretty well. This is where I've actually got the camera itself. Just taking the elevator up to see if I can get a wide angle before I might get told off. Sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Whilst POV is very much your point of view, BTS is behind the scenes, showing angles of you working, showing the other angles of things that are happening that aren't part of your perspective. POV videos allow you to really get into the action, and this is of course not necessarily a POV. However, this is my POV setup for a lot of the content creation that I do. Now, it's ideal to have a separate camera for this, but there are a bunch of different ways in order for you to mount it and get varying amount of different kind of quality from your point of view videos. It allows me to get a little bit of depth of field. It records in ProRes as well as OpenGate. That's of course the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, it's usually good to be able to split your content creation away from using a phone because it just allows you to interact more with the environment. However, in terms of the ability to be able to film multiple focal lengths, depth of field, cinematic footage, this works out really well, but it does fall apart in some other areas, and this is something that I wouldn't actually use in situations when there's a lot going on. This though, in terms of general content creation, does work out really well. And the way in which I've done it is I've actually attached it to my messenger bag with the Peak Design clip. So let's take this off. Rio Stewart here, and this is the mobile creator kit from Peak Design, and you can just simply click this into any Peak Design clip, and it works especially well when you're using a satchel or just a everyday bag that goes across your shoulder. You just simply click it in, and it's also an Arca Swiss plate as well, so you can actually put it on top of your tripod if you're looking to get another angle from a much smaller, easier to kind of mount camera, and it gives you a great point of view, especially because of where the cameras are positioned and where the case clips on. This is the setup I use on my messenger bag. I'm just going to show you a couple extra clips when it comes to how I've actually set this up. So the bag I use on a day-to-day basis is of course the Peter McKinnon Go-Matic or No-Matic 13-inch messenger. It fits pretty much everything that I really need into it. I've then attached the Peak Design clip to the strap, but one of the issues when it comes to this particular way of doing it is the fact that if I ever want to get anything out of my bag, my phone comes up and it's not necessarily ideal. But if I am just going out shooting, just street photography, or just need a BTS camera of me shooting, this works out really well, and I do very much recommend using the Peak Design case with the 2TB multi-hub adapter. This thing is what I work on most of my videos with. It's one of the best things I've ever actually gotten, and it continues to surprise me every day. And just to show you that, this is what it is. What's really great about it is that I use it to edit all of the footage off of. So this right here is the SSD. It will fit into most smartphones, and if I just wanted to record ProRes, I can just clip that in right there. However, with the multi-hub, you are actually able to charge your phone as well as connecting another USB-C point for you to be able to access another SSD, or just, you know, be a little bit more efficient with your workflow when you're out and about shooting. Now let's go over some POV cameras, or at least some of my favorites. And we have probably done a video on these in the past, so make sure you click at the links at the end of the video where you can check them out. And then this is the Instago Ultra. What's great about this one in particular is you have the ability to use this as a monitor, so you know kind of what you're expecting to get out of the footage you are. So if we actually just press record, what's great about this is also is that you don't get the distraction. It's literally just POV at its purest form. So if you're out and about, going out, getting shots, that's great. The other great thing about this one is that it's magnetic. So if I take that off, I can pretty much put it anywhere. Well, anywhere that is, of course, metal. The camera has proven its worth, though. I actually used this to record the BTS footage at the Kooks concert that I went to with the MEV1, and the camera proved invaluable, offering a really great system overall. Watch our video on it to find out a little bit more about it, but I was very impressed with this as a POV and also BTS hybrid. And of course, you've also got the GoPro. Now, when it comes to GoPro, they are actually super reliable, and that's probably one of my favorite things about them. In low light, any kind of situation, these are pretty good. The only thing is like once you've actually set it up, you can't necessarily actually see the shot in order to really be able to do it. And GoPro have been the choice of many for a really long time, as they do produce just reliable footage across the board, and they're also great for things like using it on drones and also their BTS shots you don't necessarily need the highest quality on. However, there are other cameras coming out on the market, and we're going to be talking about the Osmo Action 6 in a second. But before we do, of course, I just want to mention one more thing you can actually do with the Peak Design capture clip, and that is actually convert it into a cap mount. This is really great for, as you see it, what you get kind of content. It moves around with your head, and you can actually get a varying amount of different shots. However, the reason why I don't tend to use this too much is that it's blatantly obvious that you are recording, and when you're just trying to get honesty, sometimes the best policy is to have it around your chest mark if you're trying to be stealthy. Of course, there are other options like the Ray-Bans, however, these don't necessarily give you as much quality, and they still offer distraction from what you're actually shooting. So an action camera is often the best bet for getting true natural content if you are looking to make these into like long form videos or even just short form. Anyway, let's go into the Osmo Pocket 3. Now, this is not necessarily the craziest and most powerful POV camera, but what it's really great for is if you're actually shooting somebody else, you can actually get some really good interviews. Now, what I've done is 3D print a Peak Design plate system for it, so it actually fits into my Peak, and then also it turns on, get it to track whatever I am looking at, so that's also great. I don't know if it will record because I haven't got an SD card in it. But like I said, this is more great for kind of like smaller documentary stuff when you want to be hidden. Trouble is also you can't necessarily see what you're shooting unless you connect it to your phone. But overall, if you just get it out, set it up, and make sure it's tracking the person that you want it to, 9 times out of 10, this setup here is actually one of my favourites. For you to be able to get another kind of angle of what you're doing, showing off kind of what you're using, and it can come down here as well. So you can show it off as a more kind of like handheld experience of what you're actually using to create the shots. Now, the next camera we're going to be talking about is the one that I did a video on literally yesterday, and that is of course the Osmo Action 6. And we're going to be going over the other way of mounting cameras for POV, especially if you're wearing a backpack, and that is with. So today I'm out in Cardiff and I've actually got my backpack on me instead of my satchel. So you've seen the run and gun setup that I usually use day in, day out. But at the moment I'm testing out the Osmo, and this is my setup. So I've decided to go with the normal setup that you would find when it comes to GoPros and a lot of people that don't necessarily want to be carrying a bag on their back. And that is of course using one of these. This is just a Chesty from GoPro. Now, of course, DJI do have their own suite of other kind of like accessories for it. The GoPro Chesty is perhaps one of the most widely used because it's so comfortable. And also, if you just want to hide away as well, it just ends up disappearing into your jacket quite easy, at least for me, for doing street photography and a bit more of a lower key kind of setup. This is kind of perfect. So it's just as simple as activating it, putting it on, and getting ready to go. It's nice and, you know, easy to kind of like adjust if you've got a bigger body or if you want to have it higher up. There you go, really easy. Chesty is probably one of my favorite setups for doing this. I'm going to show you another one in a second, but I'm filming a review for this camera at the moment, so I best start talking about this camera. One of the more stealthy ways I've actually seen doing these kind of POV videos is of course using these pucks. This one actually comes with the Insta360 Go Ultra, and it simply just goes underneath your t-shirt. It has a magnetic attachment which you can just throw the camera on, and there you go. It's quite stealthy, especially if you're wearing like black, and it just allows you to stay in the action without it necessarily being super obvious that you're actually recording. I used this on the MEV video whilst I was walking around, and it worked out pretty well, although I did jump to the attachment that I had on my bag later on because it's just that little bit more secure. And although these magnets are quite, you know, tough, I don't necessarily believe they are perfect for every situation. However, it is pretty cool, and it's probably the last way of doing POV that we're going to be talking about today. But yes, let me know what you think down below. If you like this video, please like, follow, subscribe if you want to see more.